All right, in this video, we're going to finish up with volume. So if you remember in the first video, we did disk. So we took a curve and we revolved it around, let's say, the x-axis. We created this solid of revolution and we found the volume of it. This was the disk method. We created these disks here like this, like that, and we integrated and found the volume. Then we graduated to the washer method. So this was a washer. Again, we took two curves and we revolved them. So we physically rotated them around the x-axis and we created this solid of revolution. So we had a washer because we had the two outer and then the inner. So we got something that looked like a washer, or kind of like a donut with the hole in the middle, okay? All right, in this section, we're gonna create a solid, but not by revolution. So we're gonna create a solid by putting figures. So it can be a square, it can be a rectangle, type of a triangle, or a semicircle, and it's going to sort of create this solid. So if you look at this idea for a second, and then I'm going to come over here and draw a square. But basically, think of this as the x-axis, the y-axis, and then we have that curve, let's say y equals square root of x. So as we move away from the y-axis, it's separating, right, between the curve and the x-axis. So this is a bigger semicircle than, let's say, over here. And what we're doing is, so this is changing as I move back this way, or you want to think of it as moving this way. Is in modules, there is, and you really need to take a look at it, which I'll show it in class, but it's modules. And then there's a demo for cross sections. Okay, and you're going to understand this a little bit better, but what they're doing here is they're stacking up these semicircles. So the distance between the two curves right here is really small. That's why the semicircle is smaller. And then as it goes further away, the distance becomes larger, thus the semicircle becomes larger. That's one way to look at it. The square is probably the easiest to understand because a square, all the sides are equal. So one of the sides is going to be given by, like, that's one side of the square. Here's another side of another square, and here's another side of another square. So they're different sizes, right? So this square is not going to come out as much because it's only going to come out this distance. This square is going to come out much more because it's going to come out this distance. And it's like we're stacking up all of these squares to fill in all the space to create a solid, and then we're going to find the volume of that solid, okay? And I know we've talked about this a little bit in the past, but basically when you integrate area, you get volume. And the best way to understand it is the idea of that cylinder, right, in geometry. So when you have a cylinder in geometry, we have something like this. And we know that the volume is pi r squared. So that's the area of the base. That just gives me the base part of it, okay? So that's just down here. But then when I multiply it by the height, right, we times it by the height, that's what gives it the volume. So it's almost like I'm stacking up these discs, like this, like this, like this. They're all stacked up, and then we're summing them up. That's what you're doing when you're doing volume. Now, we've done this in geometry because, to be honest, it doesn't matter because all these discs are the same size. The radius is the same size. The reason calculus comes into place here is because the radius would be changing, right? When we did these discs, let me just come back to this for a second. Let's say we did the disc like this. This disc is much bigger than, let's say, this disc, so the radius is a little bit different, okay? So, but again, the takeaway is when you integrate area, you get volume, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to integrate an area formula, we'll just call it x, dx, and we're going to get the volume. So this is going to change depending on what figure is on the inside. If you have a square, it's simply going to be side square. If you're going to have, a rectangle, it's going to be length times width. If you have a triangle, it's going to be 1/2 the base times the height, etc., etc. And we'll work through all the different examples, but that's basically what you're doing. So pi is not really involved in cross sections unless you're doing a semicircle, because the formula for a semicircle would be pi r squared over 2 So now we have the pi involved in it. So there's no pi because we're not creating these discs or circular type things that we're trying to find an area of. Okay, so it's really just going to be dictated by the formula, the geometric formula. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and start with the first one. So the first one, again, about the x-axis, and we're talking about squares. So we're looking at going this way. And again, it's like we're stacking up these squares. You can notice that's the base of each of these squares. The base, the size of the base is going to change depending on where you are. Now to find the length or the distance, it's really just the distance between the two curves, right? Isn't that how you find the distance from the top to the bottom? You would do top minus bottom. So if I do the top curve, which is going to be the 1 minus x squared minus the bottom curve, we're going to get 1 plus, so we're going to get 2. So 2 square root of 1 minus x squared. That represents the base of the square, and we know that the formula for a square is side squared. So this represents one side. So we're going to integrate. So it's going to go from -1 to 1. And it's going to be side squared. So it's 2 square root of 1 minus x squared squared dx. Okay? And then I'm just going to put these all into my calculator, and we get 5.333. All right, second one, they're asking us to do semicircles perpendicular to the x-axis. Okay, so a semicircle, so it's the semicircle is the part that's coming out of the figure. Okay, so this is going to be the diameter. So this would be one diameter. This would be a diameter. This would be a diameter. Okay, so again, that changes. Okay, and then that's going to dictate how far out, kind of like the hump of the circle comes out. Okay, so this is going to be half of the circle stacked up and all the way through. So again, we need to find the diameter. I'm going to give you a formula for semicircle. Okay, but let's go through the formula. So it's pi r squared over 2. So that's the formula for area of a semicircle. And then if we integrate that, we're going to get the volume. Okay, but what we could do for a semicircle is, remember, this is the diameter. So the radius is always going to be, so it's pi. We'll just call the radius d. Let's call it distance. No, let's not. Let's not make it confusing. So it's pi r squared over 2. Okay? But the radius is half of the diameter, right? So really it's going to be pi r over 2 squared over 2. So we get pi r squared over 4. This becomes a 4. Bring it down here, you get an 8. So really, for the semicircle, the formula is going to be pi over 8. We're going to integrate, and then r squared, we'll say dr, but it's going to be in terms of x. Okay? So again, it's really just going to be, so it's pi over 8, or we could think of it as pi over 8, integrate, and then the distance between the curves, squared dx. Okay? All right, so my top curve is the 2 minus x squared. So 2 minus x squared minus the bottom curve, x squared. So we get negative 2x squared minus 2. Okay, so that's going to be what goes in here. So it's pi over 8. We're going from -1 to 1. And then it's negative 2x squared minus 2 squared dx. And the rest we're just going to go right into our calculator. Okay? When you plug this in, you're going to get 1.676. Like that. All right. Equilateral triangle. So the formula for equilateral triangle, I proved it in... where did I prove it? Maybe in the homework. I don't remember. I could do it right here real quick. If you have an equilateral triangle, We know that it's 60, 60, 60, right? If we drop this straight down like that, let's say that this is A, okay? We know that if this is 30 here, okay? Bear with me a second. So this would be cut in half. So let's say this is A over 2. So then this becomes A over 2 root 3 because it's opposite the 60. So it's 1/2 the base times the height, which is A over 2 root 3. So the takeaway is, no, this is A, so these are all A. So we're going to get root 3 over 4A squared. Now this is going to be the A, right? Because it's like you're taking this triangle here and you're stacking it up here, and then it's going to come out that same amount as A, okay? So again, it's the same formula. So it's going to be the distance between the curves. That's this part of it, okay? So let's first find the distance between the curves. I'm going to do the upper curve minus the lower curve. So the upper curve is the 1 minus x over 2 minus -1 plus x over 2. So we're going to get 1 minus x over 2 plus 1 minus x over 2. So we're going to get 2. Actually, this works out to be 2 minus x, okay? Yeah, because you're going to get 2x over 2, which is just x, so 2 minus x. So it's going to be root 3 over 4, integrate. So we're going to go from zero to 2, like that, and then it's going to be the 2 minus x squared dx. So we're going to get 1.155. What's great about these problems are, usually on the AP exam, part A is always find the distance between the curves. And then part C, a lot of times we'll get a cross section. So you already found the distance between the curves because you did the upper minus the lower or the right minus the left in part A. Okay, so that's super helpful, okay? All right, this one, x-axis, isosceles triangle. So this one, not that it's easier, but think about an isosceles triangle. So these two are the same, okay? So to find the area of this, it's base times height. So it's really going to be base times base, or we can say base squared, and this is just going to be that right there. So again, we're doing upper minus lower. The lower is 0, so it's root x minus 0, which is simply just root x. So again, the formula for a triangle is 1/2 the base times the height, but for isosceles, the base and the height are the same. So it's 1/2 base squared. So we're going to say 1/2 integrate from 1 to 4, and then it's going to be root x squared dx. And again, you can put this in the calculator, but you're going to get, let's see, I believe it is 3.750. Like that. Okay. Next one is, all right, so perpendicular to the y-axis. So now we're looking at going this way. So we want to make sure we resolve this. So y equals x squared, x equals square root of y. And now our bounds are going to be from 0 to 4. Okay. All right, so we're going to do volume. So semicircle, just memorize it. It's going to be pi over 8. We're going from 0 to 4. So now we want to do right minus left. Now, this one's a little tricky because technically it's x equals plus or minus root y. So the one to the right is root y. And the one to the left is negative root y. So if we do right minus the left, we're going to get 2 root y. Or you could do half of it and then double it. And that's what most people would do for something like this, okay? So we're going to get 2 root y squared dy. And again, just go to your calculator. We're going to get a 12.566. All right, and then the last one, let's see. So this one, we've got rectangles. So for the rectangle, they have to give you the height. So either they explicitly give you the height. They say the height in this case is equal to 3, or the height's equal to 2, and you just do the base, which is the distance between the curves, times the height. A lot of times they'll say that the height is so many times the base. So you would set something up, right? So to get the base, again, we're looking at this direction here. So we're looking at this way. So we're going to do upper minus lower. So let's do that first. So the cross section is going to be the upper, which is the line. So x plus 1 minus the lower, which is the curve. So x squared minus 1. So you get negative x squared plus x plus 2. So that represents this distance here. So that's the base of whatever figure we're talking about. So the rectangle whose height is twice the base. So 2 times, so the base is what we just said. So the base, all right, so we've got a rectangle whose height is twice the base. So we said the base is going to be the distance between the curves. So the base is negative x squared plus x plus 2. Then the height is 2 times the base. So 2 negative x squared plus x plus 2. So to get the volume, it's simply going to be the integral. So we're going from -1 to 2. So it's length times width, or base times height. So then it's 2, and then negative x squared plus x plus 2 squared dx. Okay? And that's what we're going to put into the calculator. And you get 9.0. Equilateral triangle, we just did the base. So the base stays the same for all of them, okay? So it's negative x squared plus x plus 2. It's root 3 over 4, and then times the base squared. So we're going to put that into the volume formula. I'm just going to do it down here. So volume equals, so root 3 over 4. And we're going to go from -1 to 2. And then it's the negative x squared plus x plus 2 squared dx. And that's going to give me the 3.507. And then lastly, an isosceles right triangle. So this is 1/2 base times the height. So now the base and the height are the same. And again, this is still the base, okay? So it's going to be, for the volume, we're going to get 1/2. And then -1 to 2. And then it's going to be base times height, but the base and the height are the same. So I could say negative x squared plus x plus 2 squared dx. Again, put that in your calculator, you get 4.050. All right, you guys, that's it for this. Hopefully you understand it by now. Please let me know if you have any questions. Thanks. Bye.